Hi everyone, my name is Isaiah Hernandez and I will be your instructor for the Skills Resilience Training class. I'm really looking forward to this class and hopefully it's something that can really be helpful and beneficial to students, also to myself. As I was putting the course together, I kind of began to realize that some of the things, especially when it comes to mindfulness and coping with stress and being having that self-care is really difficult. And a lot of times, especially in education, I believe that we can take that for granted, that we just always need to be there for everybody else, that we always want to make sure to care for other people, but we often forget to do that for our own selves. So I think that this will be an interesting course in the sense that it's really here to help you not necessarily have a whole new way of thinking about self-care and different things like that, but just to serve really as a reminder, because a lot of these things we've heard before or we talked about before, or we're just aware of them, but to practice it is very different. So I think that'll be really interesting. So we're going to have 4 modules that we're going to be looking at. The first module is going to be essentially about the brain and mindfulness, and really how those two are connected and how we can be more mindful, and how mindfulness actually does have an effect on the brain, not just in terms of our mental health, but you have biological differences that happen as well. The second module is going to be coping with distress and how we deal with stressful situations and how we can hopefully find ways to address stressful situations in a way that doesn't create anxiety or avoidance or different things like that. So that's something that we'll be looking at as well. The module after that will be community and community building. Especially right now, it's really important to have a community that you can really rely on, a community that you can always have there as a safe place to turn to when you need support, when you need any kind of help in general. You want to have that community there, and to build that community is also very important as well. And I think a lot of us may have that already. Some of us may access it at different times or at different in different kind of levels, depending on our situation and how comfortable we are with reaching out to people. But that's going to be something very important as well. And I think one of the key pieces, especially here, is going to be how do we build that community, especially when we are in such a restricted state right now, where we don't see each other at work as often. We don't necessarily are going out and seeing relatives as much as we used to, or we're trying to do our best to make sure that we follow all of the guidelines, whatever they may be. So it might be hard to kind of keep that community bond there, because in a lot of ways, it has altered, our lives have been altered socially. And then the last module is going to be about the importance of creating something, and the importance of how when you create, you become much more aware of what's happening around you, and you kind of take a process. This process helps you really identify what your strengths are, what maybe strengths you might want to build on, and it really helps you kind of identify what is important to you, right? And it could be anything. We'll go into that as well in that module. So again, we have 4 modules. We have 2 weeks for the class, so there'll be 2 modules per week. And one of the things that I want to stress is that I don't want to create work or have this be something that becomes too time consuming. So there's a mixture of podcasts that you can listen to while you're doing something else. There are a couple of TED Talks. There'll be discussion for each module as well, where you will be able to interact with each other. And also there'll be either a reflection piece or some type of activity that'll go along with that module. So one of the key pieces is, again, I don't want anyone to stress and worry about passing or not passing. This is really something there that we have just because we want to create some kind of organizations and have some kind of structure and ways of measuring how was this helpful to people or not. So that's really the key piece of why those things are there. And if you ever have any issues accessing anything, or you can't finish anything, or for whatever reason, please feel free to email me. I'm very flexible, and I'll work with you in terms of you getting what you need to get out of this class. So that's kind of the main thing as well. So again, we have 2 weeks for the class. We have those 4 modules. And then one of the things that I think will be really helpful and help us build that community is we're going to have some optional Zoom sessions. So these won't be required. We'll have one where I will do, this week will be Thursday evening. So I'll have one at either 5 or 6 Thursday evening. It'll probably be 6 o'clock. And then next week, I will do one on Tuesday morning. So that way we have kind of alternating times based off of, what's going on, and hopefully people are able to, it'll be a place for us just to kind of talk about what we've kind of, the material that's being presented to you, also any kind of self-reflection that you may have, and really focusing on, what are the things that are helpful and not helpful in terms of, the class as well. So along with the discussion questions that you have, it'll be an opportunity for you to kind of connect with other students in the class, also have time to talk with me as well, and give any feedback that you might have, to myself, to others in the classroom, talk about things that are, maybe stressful at that time. And so one of the things that is going to be very important is really kind of having that ability and the flexibility to really engage with each other. So that's going to be one of the key things. And really, that's kind of it. The syllabus will kind of really give you a pretty good detail about what it is that we will be covering on each module. And also at the end, I kind of put an explanation of the different things that, the podcasts are talking about, the TED Talks, or any kind of videos or supplemental resources you might have. So there's going to be a lot of information, I think, that's going to be available to you. Don't feel like you have to know it all or have to get it all or understand it all. It's really there for you to access it as you need it, right? And so a lot of the discussions, and when we have a Zoom session, it will kind of focus around, the general topic of that week, or the general topic of that module. So that's going to be another key piece as well. So again, there is a lot of information. Don't feel like, again, you have to have, you have to master it, or you have to, see everything and all of it, but just really, I would say, focus more on the things that you find interesting for yourself. Focus more on the things that you find engaging, because that's going to be the most important thing. Rather than trying to get a handle on everything that's being presented to you, I would say focus on whatever you find is engaging, whatever you find is helpful for yourself. And that's probably going to be the best thing for you to be able to really, get something from this class, which is the whole point of, why we're offering this. So again, I'm really looking forward to working with you all. I know we have a very short time with each other, but I will do my best to try to, create a place where this is something that is going to be very helpful for you, and also is going to be able to help you really kind of build some of those resilient skills that are needed. So look forward to working with everybody.